All right, let's get serious. Ever notice how some folks just love pushing your limits? They interrupt, toss passive-aggressive remarks, or treat your time and emotions like they're optional. And we're expected to just grin and let it pass? Not today. If you're fed up with people who disrespect you, this video's for you. I'm breaking down brutally honest, maybe slightly controversial ways to tackle disrespect without losing your composure or compromising your self-worth. So buckle up. By the end, you'll have every tool to clearly mark where the line is drawn. Let's jump in. First, master the silent stare. Let's kick off with one of my favorite, subtly fierce techniques, the silent stare. You might think, really? Just staring? Yes, trust me. When someone's blatantly rude or disrespectful, nothing unsettles them more than a calm, prolonged, utterly unfazed stare. Here's why it's effective. Disrespectful people crave a reaction. They want you to stumble, get flustered, or snap back. They aim to pull you into their chaos, make you doubt yourself, or feel diminished. But when you simply gaze at them, no words, no expression, the power dynamic flips. I know it might seem a bit passive-aggressive, but listen, there's something profoundly disarming about someone who doesn't deliver the reaction they expect. With a steady, silent stare, you're saying without speaking, I'm not engaging in your game. It's a way to seize control without lifting a finger. Sometimes that silent stare is the most powerful, clearest no you'll ever deliver. Let me share a moment this worked like a charm. In a group meeting, one guy kept cutting me off, talking over me like it was his mission. You know the type, loud, overconfident, acting like everyone's there for his brilliance. I tried interjecting, stayed polite, but he wouldn't stop. Oh, finally, I just stared at him. Leaned back, arms crossed. I held his gaze. No blinking, no expression. Just 5 solid seconds of silence. I said nothing. The tension grew palpable. The best part? Everyone else at the table started glancing at him, curious what he'd do. And guess what? He got uneasy, fumbled his words, and suddenly couldn't meet my eyes. He didn't interrupt me for the rest of the meeting. That silent stare outdid any words, and it didn't just halt his behavior then. He began treating me with more respect afterward, like he realized I wasn't someone he could steamroll. Let's dive deeper. The silent stare isn't just a power move. It's a reminder to them and yourself that you don't have to dance to their rhythm. You don't owe anyone an emotional outburst, nor must you prove your worth to those who don't see it. This is about reclaiming your space, peace, and dignity. Too often when someone disrespects us, we feel compelled to defend ourselves, argue our case, or worse, let it slide to avoid a scene. But the silent stare? It's not aggressive, it's grounded, showing you're unshaken and firmly in control of your emotions. It's also about accountability. People accustomed to disrespect often act without thinking, never facing consequences for mistreating others. When you hit them with that silent, deadpan look, it's like holding up a mirror. You're not saying they're wrong. You're showing them. Most don't like that reflection, and that's why it works. I've found the silent stare does more than make the other person back off. It bolsters your self-worth. Standing there, silent and steady, you remind yourself their words or actions can't rattle you. I used to nervously laugh off rude remarks or try justifying myself when someone questioned my choices. Honestly, that just drained me and left me feeling worse. Learning to simply look at someone, letting silence fill the space without flinching, was a game changer. It's a quiet act of defiance, a powerful declaration of self-respect. So, if someone's being rude, pushing boundaries, or making you feel small, try the silent stare. Just gaze at them. Let them feel the weight of your calm. You'll be amazed at how uneasy it makes them and how empowered it makes you. The silent stare says, I respect myself too much to get pulled into your negativity. That's a message worth sending. Second, wield silence as your response. Here's a secret weapon that's wildly underrated: silence. When someone disrespects you, one of the boldest moves is offering no reply at all. I know you're thinking, silence feels passive, like I'm letting them off the hook, right? But here's the reality. Silence isn't passive. It's a deliberate choice, often the loudest, most powerful answer you can give. When someone hurls negativity your way, they're trying to drag you into their drama, to make you feel small or defensive. But by not engaging, by letting their words linger unanswered in the air, you force them to face their own behavior alone. That silence, it's deafening. Here's why it's so effective. Disrespectful people thrive on reactions. They're fishing for a fight, a justification, or some validation for their antics. Silence, though, declares, I'm not giving you my energy. By refusing to engage, you maintain control of the moment, signaling, I'm not here for your disrespect. Sometimes, the strongest way to communicate is by saying nothing at all. It's a subtle, quiet reminder that they're not worth your time or words. Let me share a time this clicked. I dealt with someone who loved slipping in little digs, those insults disguised as jokes, passed off as harmless. One day, he tossed out a pointless jab about my work, clearly aiming to rile me up. Normally, I'd have justified myself or shot back a quip, but this time, I just raised an eyebrow, looked at him, and said nothing. I let his words hang, let the awkward pause stretch. And you know what? He squirmed. He looked at me, then away, mumbled something, and moved on. That was the last time he tried that with me. It was like he realized my lack of reaction left him powerless. That's the magic of silence. It starves disrespect of the attention it seeks. Here's the deeper truth. Choosing silence is choosing yourself. It says, I value my peace over your opinion of me. That's not just empowering, it's transformative. We often feel pressured to respond, to explain or defend our worth to people who don't care to respect us. But embracing silence means rejecting their rules. You're taking a stand without a word, letting them know you're not worth my response. Silence acts like a shield, preserving your peace by blocking the negativity others try to push onto you. The moment you stop feeling compelled to answer every rude remark or passive-aggressive jab, you liberate yourself. You deny them access to your inner world and start living on your terms. I'll be honest, mastering silence wasn't easy for me. I used to think staying quiet made me seem weak or passive. But I noticed something. Every time I argued with someone who disrespected me, I ended up drained and frustrated. When I held my tongue, letting their comments pass like background noise, I felt lighter, stronger, more in control. It was like reclaiming a piece of my power with every choice to stay silent. So, here's my challenge. The next time someone disrespects you, pause, take a deep breath, look them in the eye, and say nothing. Let your silence speak. You'll be surprised how uneasy it makes them and how freeing it feels for you. Embrace silence as your response. Sometimes saying nothing is the most commanding statement you can make. Third, quit justifying your decisions. All right, this one's going to resonate with many of you. Stop explaining your choices. Seriously, how often do you make a decision for yourself, only for someone to immediately demand, "Why'd you do that? Why skip that event? Why take that job?" People act like they're entitled to a breakdown of your every move. And here's the raw truth. They're not. Your choices belong to you, and you don't owe anyone a rationale for how you live. It might sound bold, but let's be real. If someone's questioning your decisions, they're rarely seeking to understand. They're judging, probing for flaws, trying to make you doubt or feel better about their own choices by unsettling yours. You don't have to play that game. When you stop explaining, you reclaim your freedom and show them your life isn't up for debate. Let's unpack why people feel so entitled to your explanations. When they challenge your choices, it's often because your decisions disrupt their worldview. Maybe you're taking a leap they're too afraid to attempt, or you're breaking from a norm they cling to. Your independence, your willingness to forge your own path, unsettles them. Demanding an explanation is their attempt to box you back into their comfort zone. But here's the deal. Their discomfort isn't your burden. Your life isn't a public forum. You don't need to justify your moves to anyone. I recall switching careers, leaving a secure job for something I truly cared about. Riskier but fulfilling. When people heard, it was like I'd said I was relocating to the moon. Why leave a stable job? How will you make it work? At first, I'd dive into explanations, how I craved meaning, how I had a plan. But no matter what I said, it never felt enough. The more I explained, the more they poked holes, making me feel like I had to prove myself. Then one day, I tried something different. When someone asked, "Why'd you quit that job?" I just said, "Because I wanted to." No details, no strategy breakdown, just a simple reply. And let me tell you, it felt liberating. The silence that followed was golden. People didn't know how to respond because I'd cut off their power to question me. Eventually, they stopped asking. Here's the beauty of not explaining. It's freeing. It's standing firm in your truth, knowing your decisions are valid simply because you made them. When you stop justifying, you allow yourself to live authentically, unburdened by others' expectations. You stop wasting energy on explanations and start channeling it into living the life you want. There's a deeper lesson here. Your life doesn't need a vote. Not every choice requires scrutiny or approval from others. By refusing to explain, you're signaling, "I'm confident in my decisions, and I don't need your validation." Think about it. When do you see a truly confident person dissecting their choices for others? Rarely, because those who own their lives don't seek external approval. They know their own approval is enough. I've been there, giving full presentations to justify my actions, hoping to win people over. But I realized explaining myself only made me second-guess my choices. So, I made a deal with myself. If someone asks about a decision, I'll give a brief answer, maybe a sentence or two. If they push, I smile and move on. Life got lighter. The less I explained, the more confident I grew in my decisions. Here's my challenge. Next time someone questions your choices, resist the urge to justify. Just say, "That's what felt right for me," or "because I chose to." Then let the silence do the talking. Notice how powerful that simple statement feels. You'll feel stronger, more in control, more at peace with yourself. Best of all, you'll realize your choices don't need anyone's stamp of approval. They're valid because you made them. Fourth, maintain your distance. Let's be honest. Sometimes the best way to deal with people who disrespect you is to simply step back. It might sound harsh, even a bit cold, but here's the hard truth. Not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. If someone's repeatedly disrespecting you, one of the healthiest moves is to create space from them. This isn't about hating them or being dramatic. It's about valuing yourself enough to guard your energy. Keeping distance isn't mean or dismissive. It's about choosing how and where you invest your time and emotions. Picture your life as an exclusive club. Not everyone gets a VIP pass. If someone's constantly crossing your boundaries, belittling you, or radiating negativity, why keep them close? It's okay to pull back. In fact, it's essential. Distance offers clarity, letting you see things as they are, free from emotional manipulation or guilt. When you stay near people who disrespect you, it's like inviting them to a buffet where they feast on criticizing and judging you. Then we wonder why we feel drained, anxious, or frustrated. Stepping back is self-preservation. It protects your mental health, preserves your peace, and makes room for those who truly respect and uplift you. Letting go of guilt about distancing yourself is freeing. You're not obligated to keep disrespectful people in your circle. I once had a friend who always slipped in snide remarks about my choices, my career, relationships, even my music taste. At first I thought, that's just their way. Or maybe I was overreacting. So I kept them around, brushing it off. But those jabs started to sting. I was tiptoeing, always bracing for the next slight, the next joke that felt like a jab. One day, I chose a new approach. I didn't confront them or make a scene. I just cut back on our time together. Instead of weekly hangouts, I saw them maybe once a month. Guess what? I felt lighter, freer. That space showed me how toxic that friendship had become. Distancing myself gave me the clarity to realize I deserved better. Friends who'd lift me up, not tear me down. Some will call this selfish saying, but they're family, or you've been friends forever. It can feel uneasy, even taboo, to admit someone close isn't good for you. Society pushes loyalty, forgiveness, niceness, but at what cost? Here's the truth. Protecting your peace isn't selfish. It's vital. You're not here to be anyone's emotional punching bag or constant validation source. Sometimes the strongest way to show you're done is by quietly stepping away. Here's the deeper point. Keeping distance reminds you that you're your own priority. You don't have to play the role others assign you. You don't owe anyone access to your mind, time, or emotions. By creating space from disrespectful people, you declare your well-being comes first. That's not just self-care, it's self-respect. Distance also lets you refocus on relationships that matter, ones that genuinely uplift you. Think about it. The more time you spend with people who respect you, the more confident and fulfilled you feel. The less time you give to those who drag you down, the less they can affect your thoughts, mood, or life. I used to feel guilty about pulling away, even from those who treated me poorly. I'd worry, what if they think I don't care? Or, am I overreacting? But I learned distancing wasn't just about removing negativity. It was about creating space for growth. When I started allowing myself to step back from disrespectful people, I found new freedom. I had more energy, more peace, and a clearer vision of who I wanted in my life. Here's my challenge. Think of those in your life who constantly disrespect you, who make you feel small or drained. Ask yourself, do they really deserve this much access to me? Fifth, stand tall with confidence. All right, let's dive into a timeless classic that never fades, holding your head high. This might sound like generic advice, but trust me, it's pure gold when facing those who disrespect you. Here's the deal. When someone's disrespectful, they're counting on making you feel small. They want you to doubt yourself, avert your gaze, shrink inward. But when you stand upright, head held high, you declare without words, I know my worth, and nothing you say or do will diminish me. What's so powerful about this? Confidence unnerves people, especially those who disrespect others. They thrive on believing their words or actions can sway you, control you. When you refuse to let their disrespect touch you, when you physically stand taller and keep your head up, you show them their power doesn't reach you. You're unshakable, and people who feed on disrespect don't know how to handle that. It throws them off, makes them question their influence, not yours. I recall dealing with someone who couldn't resist tossing subtle insults my way. At every meeting, you know the type, always a smirk, a joke that stings more than it amuses. I used to brush it off, but it wore on me, making me dread their presence, feeling like I had to constantly defend myself. Then one day, I decided I was done shrinking. I showed up, shoulders back, head high. When they lobbed another snarky comment, I met their eyes, smiled, and carried on, as if nothing happened. And you know what? They started to back off. It was like they sensed their jabs weren't landing anymore, that I was above their nonsense. Their power faded. There's something magnetic about holding your head high. It's like an invisible shield that says, I'm untouchable. Here's where it gets bold. People who disrespect you often resent your confidence. It disrupts their worldview. They want to believe they're above you, that they've got leverage. When you stride with assurance, it challenges that narrative, almost offends them. Society isn't always sure how to handle those who are unapologetically self-assured, especially when they shrug off negativity. That can make you a target. But here's the truth. Holding your head high isn't for them. It's for you. It's about living as if you're fully aware of your value, with nothing to prove. That's a radical act of self-respect. By standing tall, you proclaim your self-worth, asserting that you're valuable, deserving of respect, inherently enough. Here's the deeper message. Self-worth isn't earned from others. It's claimed within. No matter what others say or think, you move through life, knowing you carry everything you need inside. Holding your head high reminds you that you're the protagonist of your story. No one else's opinion can make you feel less. The beauty of this, the more you practice it, the less others disrespect, even registers. You'll be too focused on your own path, too secure in who you are, to care about their attempts to drag you down. This didn't come easily to me. I used to slouch, avoid eye contact, shrink when faced with criticism or dismissal. It felt safer to fade away. But I noticed something. Every time I stood tall, every time I refused to let negativity seep into my core, I grew stronger. It was like reminding myself, again and again, that I didn't need anyone's approval to feel worthy. Holding your head high isn't just physical posture, it's mental stance. Enter every space like you belong. Don't shrink to fit someone else's idea of you. If someone throws a snarky remark, let it slide off. They're not seeing you. They're projecting their insecurities. Why let that faze you? Here's my challenge. Next time you face disrespect, whether a subtle dig or outright insult, don't react. Take a deep breath. Square your shoulders. Keep your head up. Look them in the eye as if to say, I see you, but I'm beyond this. You'll feel a surge of confidence, a peace from knowing their words hold no sway over you. Holding your head high is more than posture. It's a silent, powerful affirmation of self-respect. It says, I know who I am, I value who I am, and nothing you say can change that. Because at its core, respect begins with you. There you have it. Ways to tackle those who just don't get it, and perhaps never will. Life's too short to bend over backward for people who can't see your value. You don't need anyone's permission to stand tall, guard your peace, or live on your terms. People will try to drag you down, test your limits, question your decisions. That's just how the world works. But here's the truth. You decide what energy you allow in, and you set the standard for how you're treated. The best part? The more you prioritize your self-respect, the more you'll draw in people who recognize your worth, who lift you up instead of pulling you down. It all begins with you claiming your power and letting everything else fall into place. So, keep your head high, use silence when it suits you, and never apologize for stepping away from what doesn't serve you. Thanks for watching. If this resonated, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more on owning your life and building unshakable confidence. Share this with someone who needs a nudge to stand firm. Drop a comment below with your story of handling disrespect or setting boundaries. I'd love to hear it. Until next time, stay strong, take care, and remember, respect starts with you.